Bishop Noel Jones left people completely stunned when he finally said the words that no one expected to hear. I divorced. You won't believe how heavy those two words sounded coming from a man who had always kept his personal life a mystery. For years, there had been whispers, silent conversations in church pews, and gossip in media circles, but nobody had ever heard him admit it directly. When he finally spoke out, it was more than just a confession. It was like opening a door that had been locked for decades. The moment spread like fire, leaving people shocked, confused, and hungry to know the real story behind it. This is how everything started to unravel. Bishop Noel Jones was not an ordinary pastor. He was one of the most recognized names in the church world. As the senior pastor of the City of Refuge Church in California, he became known for his fiery sermons, his ability to connect the Bible with real life, and his bold personality that often attracted both admiration and criticism. People followed him not just in America, but across the world. His church grew from a few hundred members to thousands. His voice reached millions through television, radio, and later, social media. But while his public ministry was shining brighter than ever, behind closed doors, his personal story was taking a very different shape. And here is the shocking part. While he stood before thousands giving them hope, inside his own home, he was quietly facing struggles that no one could see. Most pastors proudly displayed their families, bringing their wives on stage and using their marriages as a symbol of unity and strength. It was almost expected that a pastor's personal life would look perfect, a mirror image of the words they preached. But with Bishop Noel Jones, things always looked different. He kept his personal life unusually private. He did not parade a wife in front of the congregation, nor did he openly talk about his marriage. This left people wondering if he was single, secretly married, or hiding some truth. What made this story even more different was not just his silence, it was the length of it. For decades, the questions never stopped, and the answers never came. The silence fueled endless gossip. People asked, is his commitment to ministry destroying his personal life? Others claimed he avoided talking about marriage because it would spark controversy, and still others whispered, maybe he is hiding something bigger than anyone realizes. While these questions kept swirling, Noel Jones carried on with his ministry as though nothing was wrong. He preached powerfully, traveled the world, appeared on television, and even participated in reality shows. But the mystery never faded. In fact, it grew larger with each passing year. His congregation admired him for his spiritual strength, but they also demanded answers. His critics attacked him, using his silence as proof that something was wrong. And yet, for so long, he said nothing. He let the rumors grow and the gossip spread, but he held his private life close to his chest, until that day came. The day he finally broke his silence and admitted, I divorced. Destiny took an unexpected turn at that moment. The same man who had guided thousands, the same man placed on a pedestal as a spiritual giant, was now revealing that he too had faced heartbreak. He too had lost something that people thought every pastor should protect at all costs, a marriage. His words didn't just confirm the whispers. They changed the way people saw him forever. To some, it made him human, someone they could relate to. To others, it made him weaker, someone who had failed to live up to the standards he preached. But this confession was not just about the end of a marriage. It was the start of a controversy that shook the church world and opened up questions far bigger than anyone expected. To understand why Bishop Noel Jones finally said, I divorced, we have to step deeper into the pressures and struggles that surrounded his life. You won't believe how much weight he carried on his shoulders every single day. He wasn't just any preacher. He was the leader of a megachurch with more than 17,000 members. Imagine the responsibility of being a spiritual father to thousands while also being seen as a public figure on television and social media. The spotlight looked glamorous from the outside, but behind the curtain, the pressure was crushing. This is how the cracks in his personal life began to form. Ministry was not a job for him. It was his entire life. He was constantly preparing sermons, attending church programs, counseling people in crisis, and traveling across the world to speak at events. His time was consumed by the pulpit, his energy was poured into the church, and his focus was always on the needs of the congregation. But when ministry takes everything from a man, what is left for his marriage? Many close to him believed that his marriage was slowly drowning under the weight of his calling. His wife, as people said, often felt like she wasn't married to a man but to the church itself. The same qualities that made Noel Jones a powerful leader in the pulpit, his strong personality, his commanding voice, and his confidence, sometimes worked against him in private life. In marriage, leadership looks different. It requires patience, compromise, and humility. But in the eyes of many, Bishop Jones was a man who was always leading, always commanding, always in charge. The same strength that inspired his congregation often became weakness inside his home. Arguments grew heavier, misunderstandings grew deeper, and the silence between them became louder with time. All of this was happening while the outside world saw him as a man who had everything together. People were praising him, quoting his sermons, and celebrating his influence. But behind the scenes, his personal life was unraveling. Destiny took another turn when those small cracks widened into a break that could not be repaired. Insiders said it wasn't one dramatic fight or explosive event. It was years of unspoken pain that built up until there was no way back. Divorce for an ordinary person is painful, but divorce for a pastor of his level is almost unbearable. The church world often places impossible standards on leaders. They are expected to be perfect in preaching, in their marriages, and in their private lives. So when Bishop Noel Jones finally admitted his marriage had ended, he knew he wasn't just confessing to personal pain. He was stepping into judgment, criticism, and possibly the collapse of his credibility. Should a leader be judged by his private struggles, or should he be allowed the same grace as everyone else? Even though he knew the backlash would be massive, Bishop Jones chose to tell the truth. And when he did, it didn't just affect his life. It set off a storm in the church world that nobody could ignore. Because if a man like Bishop Noel Jones could face divorce, it raised a bigger question. How many other leaders were silently carrying the same hidden battles? The reaction was explosive. Within hours, church members whispered, social media buzzed, and people everywhere asked, how could this happen? The man who preached about faith, family, and commitment was now admitting that his own marriage had collapsed. For many, it was like the ground shook beneath their feet. Some couldn't believe it, others were disappointed, and still others waited for this moment to point fingers. Supporters of Bishop Jones quickly came forward, saying he was still a man of God and deserved compassion.